Okay.
I don't know that it's showing up on this one.
I think it's still getting us because it said camera off. So let's just assume that it's still
okay.
going. So our live is counting. So we're trying to get live on 2 feeds. So we've got it on my page, Trainer Lindsay, and on She Lifts Gear, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, Jenny, why don't you tell them kind of what we're going to be talking about today and the setup?
Okay, first of all, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us this last time. Last time we know we went a little bit long. Yeah. So our goal every single time that we get together is to keep this to about 15-20 minutes because we know that you're busy and we know that we're busy and we want to keep it short and sweet. So know that that is a big goal for us. As a matter of fact, we were just joking. We're going to get an egg timer, put it right here square in front to keep us on track. So I'll take care of that.
Okay.
But our goal today, too, is we received a lot of questions this last time. We have narrowed it down to 3, and we want to be allow some time to cover each one of them. But we're going to be talking about some food that's going to be safe for the baby.
Yeah, nursing moms.
What are you going to do when you get up in the middle of the night and you're craving something and you want something to eat? But then we're also going to talk about what you do when you have lack of a support from your husband or from friends or whatever. How can you overcome that?
We get that question all the time.
So all the time, especially for people who are just starting out. So that's kind of really our main focus. Like I said, we're going to try to keep it on track.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
And were you going to say something about tragedy?
So we also we wanted to touch on just really quickly, our hearts go out to both the Rackley and the Patterson family. We had a tragedy here in Utah just over the last couple of days, and it kind of affected us because it's close to home. It involved a bodybuilder, the fitness community, and no matter how you look at it, there's just a lot of victims that are involved, and you can't help but feel incredibly sorry for the families who have experienced loss, and we love them and our hearts go out to them. So anyway.
Okay. All right, we're going to get started. First question is from Angeline. Okay. And she says, one of my main issues is the middle of the night. My son is up 4 to 7 times a night. Oh, I remember those days.
Oh, yeah.
That is so hard. At midnight or 3 a.m., I'm so frustrated and depressed that I grab something to eat so I don't scream. I'm following Trainer Lindsay's challenges, so what can I eat in the middle of the night to grab that it won't throw me off track? So this is a pretty easy answer. I think we both agree, but I'll let you chime in afterwards. So out of the 3 macronutrients, your proteins, carbs, and fats, protein is going to be the least likely for your body to store as fat. So if you're going to go over your calories, it's best to do it in protein. So what I would do is I would have either some turkey breast or a protein shake or just some sort of protein in your fridge ready to go for if you feel like you need to grab something, some cottage cheese, that would taste good, like a casein protein in the middle of the night. If you need to grab that, Greek yogurt, that would kind of be, you can make that into a sweet treat too for if you're kind of feeling a little mad at your baby and you need something. So you have anything else to add about that?
No, I think that whatever you're craving, I think a lot of times when we wake up in the middle of the night and we're craving something, for me, it's always something sweet.
Yes, same
and
here.
so that's why, if you have the cottage cheese or you have the shake or if you have the Greek yogurt, something to go to where you can maybe put in a little bit of like sugar-free pudding mix or Jell-O or something to sweeten it up, stevia. There's lots of different stevia flavors.
Yeah.
Just something that will curb your appetite and help you get back to sleep, but also kind of knocks out that sweetness craving that you might be having.
Yeah. And that's going to be the least likely thing to affect your body negatively. It likely won't even affect it at all. So you're totally fine to do that. Okay, Jenny, you want to read the next question? I've got them on my phone here. Okay, that one right there.
Okay, so here's the next question. It says, my son is 6 months old and breastfed. I'm looking at what I can do and take that won't hurt my milk supply. So afraid of trying something and then have an issue, but I really need to get rid of the 30 pounds I still have sitting on me. Lindsay, go.
Okay. So first of all, I think one big misconception is that your body will just drop the weight when breastfeeding. That did not happen to me by any means. I do know it happens to some people. So if you're one of those lucky few, then consider yourself lucky. For me, my body just holds on to it. And so she says that she's holding on to about 30 extra pounds. My main advice would be just to be kind to yourself and not feel super frustrated if it doesn't come off as easily as you want it to, because your body might just be kind of holding on to it as little extra cushion, when you're trying to produce milk for your baby. That's kind of a high demand situation, and so your body wants to hold on to that. So you can still lose fat, but it's going to be a little bit slower.
Can I touch on that?
Sorry.
So, and for all of you, you may or may not know, so both of my kids are adopted, so I never had the opportunity to actually breastfeed, but I still have a lot of women who approach me asking me what to do, and I think a lot of it too is about perception and how you're looking at it. This is such a huge opportunity for you as a mom to be able to breastfeed. And so I think that, just focus on eating whole foods, and don't focus so much on the dieting part of it at this time, because again, your body knows what it needs to breastfeed, and it wants you in a certain condition so that you're able to do that and be able to satisfy your infant. So just, know that it's a blessing. It's just a period of time. It's a part of your journey that's just going to be, for a few months, and little by little, as your infant grows and you start to diet back down, that's when your focus can change too. But just, it's definitely an incredible blessing. It's one that I would love to have.
As for what she can take, so supplement wise, we always recommend talking to your doctor. That's kind of our blanket statement. Always talk to your doctor about what they think is okay for you to have. Every doctor kind of has different opinions. I know I personally, and lots of women I know, do use protein powder. There's no stimulants in protein powder. Your body digests it just like it does food. Actually, it's a little even easier to digest sometimes if you get a good protein powder. So you should be fine there. Anything else, I would just talk to your doctor. One more tip I do tell my challengers is if you multiply, if you're on one of my challenges, look at the food amounts and multiply them by 1.3. Okay, so for example, if this is 100 grams of chicken, multiply 100 by 1.3, you've got 130 grams of chicken. What this does is it automatically adds about 30% more calories, which is going to be about 400 more calories. Everyone's different. If your milk supply is fine and you're feeling great and you're not losing, you can try dropping it a little bit more. If your milk supply drops a little bit, increase it back up. So everyone's different. You kind of just have to play with it and see where you still feel good and fueled and your milk supply is good. And then one last thing, people sometimes underestimate the power of drinking enough water and keeping your milk supply high. A lot of times you can slightly cut calories a little bit, but make sure you're drinking enough and your milk supply will be fine. So make sure you're drinking your water, and then just kind of play with your food and see, how you
where you feel the best.
Yeah.
Optimal.
Okay. Last question. We're going to spend more time here. It's from Carolyn, and she says, do either of you have an unsupportive husband? My husband doesn't 100% support me. He's okay with me losing weight and getting fit. He just doesn't want me to have any muscle. He says I will look like a man and unattractive. And if this has happened to you, what do you do to keep the negative vibes away and think positive about yourself? Do you want to start, Jenny?
Sure.
Okay.
And we're going to break this down into a few different things, because we do get this a lot. I know that I hear from women all the time. They're afraid that they're going to get bulky. Their husbands are afraid that it's going to change them. They're afraid they're going to get too muscular, or they just don't have a lack, or they have a lack of support in general, whether it be the husband or friends or family. And I think it's a real issue. So. I think, first of all, the reality is if you're worried about getting too muscular or too bulky,
it's not going to happen.
That is not going to happen. I mean, it would be like the extreme. It is so rare that women put on muscle that quickly.
People try really hard to get muscular and bulky and can't do it.
I mean, I think that Lindsay and I both are good examples of that.
Yes.
I mean, we've both been weightlifting for a long time.
We wish we had more muscle. We just can't seem to get it.
We lift hard and we lift heavy,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't happen. So just, that is one thing that I think that you can tell your husband or your boyfriend or whomever, your mom, that's just not going to happen.
They're good ones, yeah.
But I think that when it comes down to lack of support, because that is a real issue, I think that you need to kind of go back to, why is it that you're even doing this? Are you doing this for you, or are you doing it for them? Is this something that has been a goal? Is this something that you have wanted for a long time? Are you tired of being overweight or out of shape, or maybe, whatever the reason? What is it that's driving it? Because, I know that I've shared with a lot of you guys before, that was me. I was 37. I was 170 pounds, and I had tried so many different diets. And I never at that time had the pressure from my husband or anybody telling me to lose weight. But I just knew that for me, I was not happy. I wasn't as happy as I know that I could be, or the person that I was when I was younger. So I had to kind of, in a way, hit rock bottom to know that it was time. But it was for me, and so I had, even, and the negativity did come out. Like I said, it never came from my husband, but I did have some friends along the way that kind of questioned me, and, maybe thought that I was being a little bit selfish, or, putting too much time into exercising. And the reality was I was just trying to get healthier, and they weren't used to this new person who was actually taking time out of my day to do things for me. So, when you peel away all of the layers on why you're doing what you're doing, what is the real reason that's driving it for you? And if that deeper yes is like burning within, then I say by all means go for it, because trying to get to a healthier state, that's like a good thing. That is never a bad thing. So
people will feel threatened by it though.
Yep.
Especially, I hate the word jealousy because that's not always the case, and it just sounds so bitter, but there might be a little bit of jealousy if they see you making good changes, even if it's something they've tried to do before and not been successful.
Well, because a lot of times when you start to see those changes happen, and you're actually following through with the things that you said that you're going to do, those people, they wish that they could do it.
Yeah.
And so it's a scapegoat. They find areas where they're like, it's easier to pass the blame or to make a judgment than to say, you know what? Good for you. You're doing what I have not yet been able to do because I haven't been as committed as you. So
and that's human nature. We're not saying they're a bad person.
Not at all.
That's just human nature, that they just wish they could do what you're doing.
And we probably all have done the same thing at some time. So, it's just a real thing.
Right, for sure. Another thought, you could always talk to the person, whether it's your spouse or something, and just have a real heart-to-heart and say, this is why I'm doing it. What are your hesitations? Yep. Let's talk about this. Why? What can I do? So in the beginning of my competing, I was horrible at balancing things. Horrible. Like if I was doing a show, the whole house would turn to pot. I couldn't seem to prep my own food and make dinner for the family at the same time. My husband got frustrated, which rightly so, I would have as well. And obviously competing wasn't good for me because I couldn't balance it all. And this was back in the beginning. And I had to figure out how to balance it if I wanted to keep doing it, because his concerns were very valid. I'm a mom first, and those responsibilities were definitely sliding for something that was silly at the time and not near as important as being a mom and my role as wife and mother. So those were valid concerns, and that's a lot of the reason why I took a whole year off, was to kind of figure things out and figure out how to balance things better. But then once I got better at balancing it, my husband's had no problem whatsoever. Yeah. So a lot of times it just needs a heart-to-heart, and you might need to step back and figure out how you can keep fulfilling the roles you were before. And a lot of times getting healthier helps you fill those roles better. Yeah. When you wake up a little bit earlier to take some time for yourself, you're better throughout the day. You get more done throughout the day, I know sometimes when I sleep in later than normal, I just feel sluggish and kind of like blah all day. One thing, and I don't know how you feel about this, Jenny. I don't know, this might be a touchy subject, and you might disagree with me. I don't know, we'll see.
And that's okay. It's okay to disagree.
Yes.
This is only, and as we want to also say that this is just totally our opinion. This is just from our experience and how we feel on it, and how we feel right now could be totally different in 2 years.
Yeah. Oh,
so
totally.
I've noticed that my perception and the way I look at things is different now than it was when I started. So,
and so this what I'm about to say does not have to do with people being unsupportive of getting healthier. That is a very good and worthy thing to focus on. Whether or not you have the support or not, it's really important to always be as healthy as you can, right? But I've talked to a lot of women, especially around here, whose husbands really feel strongly that they don't do a fitness competition. And in my opinion, you should not. Because there are some amazing things you can learn along the process, but there's other ways you can learn those same things. And however valid or not your spouse's opinion is, if they feel that strongly about it, I have seen it so many times, wedge gaps in marriages, and it's not worth it, you guys. I mean, competing is great and it's fun, but it's way harder if you don't have the support at home. It's way harder if you're constantly fighting with your spouse. It's way harder to even see progress if you're constantly fighting with your spouse about it, because your cortisol levels are going to be higher. You're not going to see the results you would otherwise if everything was peaceful, okay? So people are like, but I want to compete because I want to go through the experience and have the process and see what my body does, and that is awesome. It's true. That's one of the best things you'll learn. But you can do the same thing for a photo shoot. Heck, do a photo shoot for your spouse. Yep. Put a little book together or something. That's a really fun thing. I've done it too. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, I think, just to back it up too a little bit, because there's a big difference when we're talking about getting fit versus actually doing a fitness competition.
Yep.
Because one is more of an extreme. Mm-hmm. And so, I do think that it's important to get the support or do your best to have that heart-to-heart conversation with your spouse if they're not supporting you in your fitness journey. And I think a lot of that can be resolved by just having that heart-to-heart and getting, kind of getting all the issues out on the table. What are the obstacles? What is it that's holding that person back from supporting you? Now, when it gets to, the extreme of doing a fitness competition, I get it. And like Lindsay, the first couple times that I went through it, it was really super hard. Like there are so many issues that come along with competing that people don't even consider.
Yeah.
All they do is they see that, you're up on the stage, you look amazing, you have your muscle showing, you're all tan, you're dolled up.
They don't realize how much time and money
they think
if you
that
don't have
Yeah, no, sorry. No. But they do, they just see the end result. But the reality of it is during that process, you're putting so much time. A lot of time your energy is lower than what it normally would be. You're having to change.
I'm ornery with my kids.
You're ornery. You're in a way, at times you're deprived. You're eating differently from your family. Your family doesn't get it. You're up earlier. You're staying up late. You're doing, more cardio sometimes than what you had anticipated. You're putting tons of money into competition fees as well as like your suit and everything else.
And if you're at all struggling financially, that could be a huge
And so these are things that you need to consider. And there's also the part of it too, a lot of people experience the after competition blues, which because when you have actually dialed everything in to look your best on the day of the show, a lot of times people afterwards are like, well, now what? And especially once they start to put, weight back on, and this actually could be a completely different subject, but there's so much more that goes into it. So it comes down to, if you don't have the support of your husband or your spouse or your boyfriend or whoever it is, that is something that you really do need to have a heart-to-heart with, because we both have seen time and time again where some of our friends have there's been some backlash, and we have seen wedges that have been formed, and
I've seen divorces,
and we've seen divorces.
I don't know if it stemmed from that, but I know that there were issues with that.
We have seen some things happen, and I will say too, like the first couple times when it was so hard for me, Greg and I, before he would allow me to compete again, he goes, I will only support you if you can do this and have balance. And because the first couple of times I was not balanced. I mean, it was so out of control, and my mind was so like carb deprived that I was like fighting these internal demons, because I was always like hot and cold all the time.
Yep.
And luckily I feel like I'm in a place that's completely different, but it's taken a couple of times.
For sure. It gets easier over time.
And
you may be able to talk through this with your spouse.
And try, definitely. Get everything out, because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to have resentment. Your spouse is going to have resentment, and
it's not worth it to place 7th place at a local show.
That's
It's not. I mean, not that it's all about the placing; it's about the experience. But you can get that same experience in other ways, is what I'm saying.
So, and we will continue this again, because we think that it's definitely a subject a lot of people have questions about, and we're hoping that this is raising a lot of new questions for you guys, and we want to be able to wrap it up. And I just want to say thank you for bearing with me as well, you guys, because I am getting over a cold, so I don't sound like me right now. But that's another story. But we do welcome the feedback and all of the comments, and we want you to send in your questions. So please do. That is our goal. Anyway, if you want to post it on our social media, on our websites, or email us, or whatever you want, we are going to be addressing your questions. But one of the things that we also want to do is we always want to have a takeaway for you guys. And so since today kind of our main focus is about having, building the support or finding the support and keeping that motivation to keep you on the right path so that you feel stronger, we are going to put together a list of all of our favorite quotes and examples and motivational, maybe even mantras, so that
those are my favorite.
That way you can have them. You can put them on your computer. You can put them on your fridge. You can put them on your mirror. You can put them wherever you want to. Words inspire, and even if it's just subliminal, they can help you uplift and get through those hard times. And so we want to help equip you so that you have some things that have helped us to do the same. So we created an email, and this is how we'll be able to send it out to you.
We'll put it in our captions too, so you don't have to write it down right now.
Yes, for sure. But if you do want to write it down, it's just the number 2, fitmommas@gmail.com.
MOMMAS.
Yep, so 2, FITMOMMAS@gmail.com. And if you email us today, we'll make sure that we get you that today.
Also, ask any of your questions underneath this video, because we're going to go back here. You can email them to us, but my first thing is I'm going to go back to this video and answer any questions that were posted under here. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
So that's what I have for you guys.
We did it. 20 minutes.
Oh, yes, perfect. Okay, see you guys later.
See you guys.